It is Alfred, Big Nasty Konuwa, and I have a special treat for the Nasty Network ahead of his big match against the New Day, seeking his 10th title run alongside Dudley. I interviewed the one and only Bubba Ray Dudley. Now, this is how much of a gangster I am. I was on my way to the office this morning, getting ready to prepare for the interview and conduct the interview in a professional manner. WWE, being the super pros they are, called early. Said, we got Bubba for you. We know it's a little early. Are you ready? Well, I was on the 405, but I'm a pro as well, so I pulled off the 405, I took the interview, I pulled into a FedEx parking lot, and I conducted the thing almost flawlessly. Now, I say almost because for the first part of it, you're going to hear a turn signal and some traffic in the background. I kept it in because I think it adds ambience, but for the rest of it, it was smooth sailing. Bubba Ray couldn't have been a better guest. So this is me talking to Bubba Ray about various aspects of his career, starting with his return to the Royal Rumble in WWE in January of this year. Hey, Bubba, did you get the yips that maybe fans would forget about the Dudleys upon your return?
We were out there traveling all around the world, conquering the world of tag team wrestling in every corner of the planet you could possibly think of, whether that was TNA or Japan or any place. So wrestling fans still knew who we were. Fans in the WWE universe still knew who we were. So you put that together.
We were great.
You get a surprise entrant. The first surprise entrant into the Royal Rumble. You have all of the elements needed for, the type of reaction that I got.
Now, you mentioned Devon. He was missing from that equation at the Royal Rumble. R-Truth did a great job filling in, but did you feel a void of any sort without Devon by your side?
Oh, yeah, I really wish Devon could have been there. And if you go back and you watch the Rumble again and you listen, about 30 seconds before I got eliminated, the crowd starts chanting, "We want Devon."
Yes.
I think that, people always use the cliche term, the roof would have blown off the place. But I think if Devon would have came out and Dudleys would have been standing in the middle of the ring at the Royal Rumble, I think you would have had the same reaction, if not a bigger reaction, as they got in the Barclays Center in Brooklyn when me and Devon got back together.
Yeah, I thought for sure that's where it was headed, but it was still a fun moment nonetheless. Now, you run a very successful wrestling academy, and you've ran it for years with Devon down in Florida, which is not too far from NXT. I just want to know, because you guys were around before NXT, and now that it's exploded, do you feel that the launch of NXT has impacted students of your academy, whether it be current or future students, as to whether or not they're hungry or anything like that?
No, the Team 3D Academy has been around since 2007, and it's completely different from the WWE Performance Center. The Performance Center doesn't, the Performance Center will pick the people that they want to, bring in and that they want to train. If the average, Joe off the street wants to become a pro wrestler, they can't just walk into the Performance Center. That's when they come to us. They learn from us. We're more of an old school, traditional pro wrestling training academy. But them being 20 minutes away, Florida is a hotbed right now for pro wrestling, and people always ask, you ever think that you would be able to work with, the developmental system, developmental. I think that the academy would, make for a great feeder system for developmental. So I think you work on a lot of levels.
Now, you talked about old school philosophies. Brock Lesnar recently appeared on Steve Austin's podcast this week. He made it very clear that he approaches wrestling like a business, like it's a job. He didn't necessarily grow up a fan of wrestling. As somebody who is very involved with the wrestling business and gives back and whatnot, do you have a problem with this approach at all?
I have zero problem. I think the way he looks at it is absolutely perfect, and that is exactly the way I teach my wrestlers, up-and-coming wrestlers from day one. You have to remember that this is a business, and the idea in business is to always climb the ladder of success and achieve the most success you can, especially financially, especially in an industry where you're going to destroy your body. You want to make the most amount of money possible. The wrestling business is no different than any other business, whether you flip burgers or whether you do brain surgery. You always want to climb the ladder of success. So no, I think Brock's way of looking at it is absolutely perfect.
Now, you really reinvented yourself in your time away from WWE. You became a world champion. You had a successful singles career. Is there any desire on your end to resume that singles career during your time in WWE now?
I get tons of this question. Everybody wants me to be a singles wrestler already. They're not even letting me enjoy this tag team run. If WWE ever came to me and said, "Hey, we'd like to give you a shot as a singles. We'd like to try it," I'm more than open to it. And it would be interesting. I think the fans would love to see it. But right now, I'm really concentrating on me and Devon winning our 10th tag team championship at Hell in a Cell.
Well, that's got to be flattering for you, Bubba, because I honestly can't remember anybody who's part of a team as legendary as the Dudley Boys, where there is such a demand to have a singles career. I don't remember anybody who has that on that plane. Is that a point of pride for you when you get these questions?
Yeah, it is kind of cool, because that must mean that they were really into what I was able to do by myself, and they were emotionally invested and they liked it. And when I was off on my own, it worked really, really well. And I think I brought a level of edginess to, back to pro wrestling that hadn't been seen in a while. So, like you say in wrestling, you never say never. Maybe one day it'll happen. But if it never does happen, it's really not a big deal to me. So, but the reason I would like to do it is because it seems like the fans really want to see it so much.
Now, the fans have made a lot of comparisons between NXT and ECW, where you became a major star. What specific comparisons would you make between these two brands?
I think that the obvious comparison between ECW and NXT is the passion in which the wrestlers go out there and perform, and the passion of the fans. When you have that kind of chemistry between your in-ring performers and your fans, it's going to make for a very special moment every single night.
Being in WWE, you've reunited somewhat with Paul Heyman, who you work with in ECW. Are you guys still close? Do you still talk a lot?
Yes, I speak to Dr. Frankenstein pretty frequently.
I can only imagine what those conversations are like. Final question. The New Day has had a 3-on-2 advantage on the Dudleys for quite some time, basically this entire feud, and that's really kept you guys from winning the tag team titles. Now, I'm very well versed in the Dudley origin story, and I know for a fact that there aren't just two Dudleys. So, is there a chance that we see Dudley reinforcements sometime down the line to even the odds?
Well, if we needed to, Spike Dudley is only a phone call away. And, so fans on social media have been asking me that question. When are we going to see Spike? When are we going to see Spike? As of right now, I don't think we need Spike because Xavier Woods, I don't think he's going to be making it to LA, I got to tell you that. So wow. It's 2 on 2. But if we ever needed Spike, if we ever needed our little brother, if we ever needed to run to the litter, like I said, he's no more than a phone call away, and I think he might be right there by our side. And I think the WWE Universe would go absolutely crazy to see Bubba, Devon, and Spike stand in the same ring together again.
Very, very exciting stuff. He is Bubba Ray Dudley, one half of one of the greatest, if not the greatest tag teams of all time. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, brother.
And just like that, I'm a Dudley brother. You heard him. Thanks, brother. That's what he meant. It's exactly what he meant. I'd like to once again thank Bubba Ray, and please remember to not only never text and drive, but never interview and drive. Leave that to the professionals. If you're going to be a bigot, why not do so in a company with no black board members, no black corporate executives, never had a black WWE champion, no black writers, and even outside of the WWE, no black journalists or columnists who regularly cover professional wrestling with the exception of me? Like, if I quit and left for the Nation of Islam tomorrow, pro wrestling would look a lot like Duck Dynasty.